begin with a presentation. I'm going to talk about education. Are you going to help me out with the computer? Is somebody helping me out? Yes, thank you. With the presentation of Unidos por la Educación. Whoever here who doesn't know what Unidos por la Educación is, I must explain. It's a movement from the civilian society with the objective to enhance the quality of education, because we're convinced that if we don't do so, everything that you see is not sustainable. And we believe that, yes, it's interesting if we're having a metro. It's wonderful if we have highways. But if we don't have human capital, this country will only prosper for a while, but it will not have economic and social development. Okay? So, Unidos por la Educación takes into account many things. And I will begin with what I call a profile of what we have right now in education. This has to do with the net enrollment rate. This color, the grayer one, has to do with what we have in school right now. And basically, it has been better. In 1970, you only had 75.7% of students within schools in primary level. Now we have 98%. But here is our great challenge as a country, and you are privileged. Never forget that. In Panama, in the year 2000, in what they call secondary level, that takes into account what we call junior high school and high school, we had a net enrollment rate of 61%. But the truth is that right now in high school, kids from 10th to 12th grade, we are only taking care of 4.5 students of 10. That is terrible. We're missing and we're losing our human capital and our youngsters. And right now we're only having a coverage of 60.7%. It's something that is completely unacceptable. And precisely, those who do not study are the most poor, the ones that need more to study in order to change the different challenges that they have in their environments. Right. Our dropout rate. When we see our dropout rate here, you will find that definitely we, in spite of the fact that we are supposed to be doing better, it still is unacceptable. Because when we're talking about 10.6%, for instance, here, in the gray one, the very gray one, we're talking about primary school. Secondary school, premedia, 11.9, and media, 0.9, or the other way around, I'm sorry. Primaria, 0.9, I think I'm losing my eyesight. But this is unacceptable, because what is happening is that kids don't think school is giving them enough for them to stay. We have to retain kids in school. Please, go ahead. And we participated in the PISA test. For those who don't know, this is a test that is provided by the OCDE countries in certain abilities. But please take into account, it is not what you learn in school, but basically what you can do, okay? And please go ahead. What we found out is our positions. In reading skills, out of 65 countries, Panama only did better than Peru and Azerbaijan. And this is something we have to consider. Please do not fall on the fantasy that we're developing when we go out on the street. It's not true. We won't be developed until we change these situations and these realities. In math skills, we're talking about only 80% of our students reached level 1 out of 6. Basically, it's what we call people that do not understand what they have in front of them. They don't have analytical abilities. And in science, 67% of students only reached level 1 out of 6. And this is what we're talking, and I did not explain that, about kids who are 15 years old, notwithstanding the grade level, who took the test. 28,000 students to the Republic of Panama, public and private schools. The interesting thing, because I don't want you to get depressed, please. The idea is not getting people depressed and thinking, why is this happening and we can't do anything about it. The fact is that, curiously enough, some kids from private schools who took the tests, they only were outdid by, if my memory is good, by Chilean students. And this is interesting because they're being taught by Panamanian teachers. They're not from outer space, they're not Martians. And this means that here in Panama, we have the tools to make a difference and to do things differently, and we have to make an effort to do so. In 2011, Panama was classified by the World Economic Forum in the 53rd position among 139 countries in its Global Competitiveness Index. However, when it comes to the quality of its educational system, Panama falls to the 128th position among 135 countries. This is something that we have to change. And this is why I coincide with my friend Annette that we're privileged, and I coincide that we need leadership and we need role models of kids who are doing well and who can make a difference. And now I'm going to make a reference, because this is interesting. Panamanians are wonderful. We are so special. Sometimes we are really concerned about the cost of life. These are the main concerns in the different inquests that are done in the country and in the different surveys. And it's interesting because education ranks 7 among citizens concerned. And the interesting thing is that it seems that people detach the fact that there is a direct relation between cost of life, insecurity, unemployment, juvenile violence, and even education when you drive, okay? And water, health, corruption, etc. Everything is related to education, everything. And people don't understand. They're living the terrible effects of poor education, and they don't understand that with education they can change this. Because when you say cost of life, okay, everything is going to be costly if you cannot make more money. And you can make more money with education. Insecurity, okay, how many juveniles are doing terrible things out there? And we're really upset because of that. It has to do also with education. If you have 60% of our youngsters who are supposed to be in school and who are not working and are not in school, what are they going to do for a living? Of course we don't. And unemployment is the same thing. Unemployment rate is much higher for kids. Juvenile violence, everything has to do with education. So we have to understand that it's not only our responsibility to do it well regarding our careers. We have to have leadership in order to make a difference in our communities and our societies. Right? What is our proposal? Please. We want to mobilize public opinion in order to establish education as a national priority. This should be our first priority. And it should be done in such a way that Panamanians take it so seriously as the Panama Canal. Second, we have to advocate for the achievement of national goals in the educational improvement. We have to have goals. And goals that are not only prepared or considered by our authorities, by ourselves as a society. 3, we need to involve all sectors of civil society for educational reform. And what is our rationale? And this is very interesting. We made a couple of years ago a study. And we studied educational policy reform in Panama. And we have had, since 1994, at least 13 different dialogues and planning initiatives. And it's very interesting. Plan decenal, we're talking about el compromiso por la educación, we're talking about el plan por el mejoramiento de la educación nacional, many. And we found out that they have 4 common strategic objectives and 16 goals for educational improvement. And what are they? Very easy. We have to improve equality in access to education. We cannot go on having the ones that need more, who are the poor. We cannot have them receiving the worst education. It is precisely a prescription for disaster. We have to change this. Second, we have to improve quality of learning. It's not a matter of having schools. What are we doing in schools? Are we doing the correct things in schools? Are we teaching the kids what we have to teach? And third of all, the attitudes we need. Because it's not only a matter of what we learn, it's a matter of ability, of skills, of ways of doing things. We have to strengthen our teachers' capacities. People cannot give what they don't have. If our teachers do not have those capacities we need in our system, we will not be able to do a difference. And fourth, very important, we have to improve management and investment in education. What is done right now is not enough. We don't have enough schools. Imagine, we only have 150 schools for our high school system, and we're only covering 4.5 out of 10. What would we do if we were to have full coverage? What would we do? Do we have the teachers? Do we have the infrastructure? What are we talking about? Please go ahead. So what we propose, and this has to do with Panama 2015, definitely, if we want to make a difference, if this is going to be sustainable, we have to really make a commitment as a society. Where we look at the private sector, schools, media, parents, students, political parties, unions, everybody. Really, we have to begin to share a commitment to improve education. And this has to do with you also, because we're privileged. I want to really focus on that fact. We're really privileged. Imagine how many kids who are as smart as you or smarter do not have your opportunities. So please make good use of them. Thank you.